Habuz lige yoinim. My dear friends, I'll give some tzedakah. And Emir Hashem, instead of talking about the laws of fasting, why don't we rather talk about issues which bring about that we should be feasting on Tisha B'Av? Tonight, Tisha B'Av, the fast where we commemorate the destruction of the temple. But instead of focusing on the destruction of the temple, let us focus on the rebuilding of the temple. And we will avoid fasting. We will be feasting, as it says, that this day will be transformed into the greatest day of rejoicing. So, my dear friends, the way to do this, as the Rebbe says, is discussing subjects related to the Beis HaMikdash. So let's do so. And here is an interesting Rambam. The Rambam, where it describes the laws of the Beis HaMikdash in Hilchos Beis HaBechira, discusses the issue of the Holy Ark. Where is the Holy Ark today? A lot has been said about it. Some claim it's in the Vatican. Some claim it's somewhere in Ethiopia. All kinds of claims. But listen to what the Rambam clearly states. And the Rambam says the following. When King Solomon built the first temple, he didn't use a group of architects and engineers to make the plans. All the plans, the entire construction from A to Z, was all by divine inspiration. God inspired him. And as he says himself, that it's all came by God's messages how to build the temple. Says the Rambam the following. The Holy Ark, which contains the tablets, the first, the broken ones, and the second set, this was placed by divine order in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, in the holiest of holiest section of the temple, which is kind of to the western part of the temple. And in fact, the wall that we have today, the Kotel HaMaravi, is the closest to this Holy of Holies. And there is a stone, which they call today the Dome of the Rock, that famous rock, which is the center of the world. Upon it, the Holy Ark was placed in the first temple. But then the Rambam continues, and he says, Shlomo Melech, King Solomon, by divine prophetic vision, saw that the temple will not last eternally, only lasted for 410 years. So he built subterranean caves, a maze of caves in the mountain underneath, where when the time will come, this is where the Aron HaKodesh, the Holy Ark, will be placed. And in fact, he quotes verses in Yeshayahu HaNavi, where it says over there that at one point, Yeshayahu told the Levites to bring it, to carry it into this specific area. And the Rambam continues and says the same thing was also with the Urim V'Tumim, the breastplate which in the time of the first temple would respond to the questions that the Kohen would ask, referring to things which were referring to the needs of the Jewish people. The letters of the breastplate of the stones would light up. In the second temple, it didn't function. And the Rebbe explains, why is the Rambam giving us over here historical facts rather than laws? So the law is as following. The Rambam is telling us that although in the second Beis HaMikdash, the second temple, we didn't have the Aron HaKodesh, the Holy Ark was not in its originally destined place on the stone. So one can think that there's something missing. One can think that holiness is not complete, that the temple is not a complete temple. Says the Rambam, no, you should know it's complete. Why? Because there are two areas, there are two dedicated places for the Aron HaKodesh. There is one which is above, There is one which is inside the holiest of holies, so let's call it upstairs on top of the mountain. And there's another dedicated place which is concealed. So the Rambam is telling us you should know. Godliness, which is represented by the Or HaKodesh, is present even when it is concealed. Specifically in time of exile, where one can think that God is concealed and that's why we're in exile. Says the Rambam, the halacha is that we should know that the Aron HaKodesh is present, the Luchas is present, God is present. What do we need to do? To reveal Him. How do we do that? By another mitzvah. Particularly by strengthening in Avas Yisrael. Love your fellow Jew. Especially today, the moments before Tisha B'Av, let's strengthen ourselves and love your fellow Jew, and this way we will feast this Tisha B'Av, and God willing, not fast.